always noisy. All right, today, April 24th, I'm getting ready to prepare this area for 10 broad-breasted bronze turkey that I'm going to be raising here for meat for the next 5 to 6 months. Now this area I used as storage. This is some fruit cider vinegar that I feed to my chickens, added to their water for the maintenance of their gut health, and just other little random things that I stored in this area that I have to remove because I'm getting ready to prepare this area for the turkey poults. Now, first of all, I'm extremely excited simply because I should have already had a batch of meat birds, and normally I would raise a batch of meat birds together with the turkeys because in my experience, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people who knows about this could vouch for that reason, even though there's advice floating around that you should not raise turkeys and chickens together. But this is one of the practices I use, raising a batch of meat birds together with my turkeys as a way of assisting the turkeys as to how to behave, how to act, because they are not as brilliant as a chicken, which a chicken sometimes is not too brilliant. But they mimic the chickens and they use the same behaviors, and by the time you know it, the meat birds are gone because I raised them till about 6 to 8 weeks, and then the turkeys are on their way by that time, and they know where to feed, where to drink, and they do their own thing. They grow into their own selves. I was not able to get any meat birds so far this year from the hatcheries that I would normally order them from, and so this time around I am going to be raising these 10 turkeys all by themselves. So I'm just going to be working with them and spending lots and lots of time with them as they get acclimated to this new area, and ensure that they're getting proper nutrition, they're feeding well, they're drinking well, and they're comfortable. So I'm about to clean this area out. It's not too messy. And I got my email 2 days ago stating that they were shipped from the hatchery, so I expect them 48 to 72 hours later, and so I'm expecting them tomorrow, Friday, April 25th. So I'm gonna get ready for that, make sure this place is cleaned out, make sure I set up a heat lamp. Things set up right now, and at this time of year we still get cool mornings and cool nights, so they're definitely gonna need a heat lamp. I'm gonna close off this area here, and there's sufficient ventilation because this is actually inside of my indoor chicken run, and we have a door right here. If you've been watching my videos, you pretty much know the setup. But what I'm gonna do now is get their water ready, get their little feeder ready, set up the heat lamp, and put down some pine straw, and wait for that call tomorrow so I can pick up my turkey poults. Now, I always have a plan in place for how my year is going to go, what I'm going to be raising, and how I'm going to be even planting food in my garden. And I always stay ahead of the game, and I make sure I'm filled with feed. So I've had this feed in here for the turkeys. This is the starter feed. And I make sure I have some pan shavings on hand. Planning for me is key, and I don't wait till the exact moment to try and find supplies so that I can adequately take care of my birds, whether it's chickens or turkeys. Now, I don't mind having that much feed on hand for the turkeys because it's a high protein feed. Having chickens that goes into the molt stage sometime, I feed them a high protein diet, which could be meat bird feed or even turkey feed. It's high protein. And so that helps fill in their feathers because they need that high protein to assist the feathers in growing back. Now I'm going to grab all my supplies, my pan shaving, my feed, 2 waterers, and 2 small feeders, and head over to the chicken coop where I can get my setup started. Now this operation involves a little bit of handiwork, so I grab my tools and I'm getting started I'm just grabbing a bit for my drill that I use in here in my chicken coop. And so with this preparation, you'll see a little bit of my handy skills. I think having the skills of using simple tools makes the job a bit easier. So I'm just going to remove these screws that are holding this door in place. That's what I like about this here. It's removable, and this is the way we design it to be for easy access to reach in here. Let me take all this, look at all this dust, guys. These are bags that we use to store dry leaves in the fall, so we can place it right here in the chicken run. But this is just for storage purposes till we're ready to raise chickens or turkeys in here. See this? Easy access in here. So we have this side we can access, and we also have this door here where we can access. Alright, here I started to put down some wood shavings, and I had an idea of, even though I'm going to close this off, I think I'm going to create a really closed space for these turkey poles, because if you look back here, I can just remove this. All I have to do is take this piece of wood out here, remove this piece of wood, and there's a box, a watermelon box here that I saved up for when I receive baby chicks or turkey poults and I'm not able to have access to something such as a watermelon box, which creates such a really cozy microclimate for these chickens as they are newly hatched to thrive in. So we are going to be using this watermelon box. That's a bad screw, a really bad screw. All right. So if I remove this piece of wood here, we have an entire additional section here to actually put more birds if we chose to. But I'm just gonna remove the box. And the truth is, I make sure I have at least one watermelon box in the previous year for the following year in case I am not able to obtain one, because these come in really handy as a brooder. See all that extra room in here? And we actually have a window also on that side. Now I'm gonna put this piece of wood back in place to secure this piece of wood right here. Alright, we could probably leave it as this for now because it's pretty tight in there with the one screw, but eventually I'm gonna have to add that second screw, especially when the turkeys get older and stronger. So I'm gonna place this watermelon box in here, positioning it in place. And it doesn't have to be a watermelon box. You could use anything that would work for you as a makeshift brooder. Alright, so check this out, guys. As you can see, I have created even a smaller space in this area for the 10 turkeys. And this is adequate spacing for them for now, especially that we still have cold nights and very cold mornings, as low as the 30s still here in my zone. So I'm going to add some more pine shavings in here and also install a piece of wood just to make sure I keep the pine shavings in here and they're not falling out once we open up the door. Okay, just got to make sure it fits properly and it's not in the way of the door. And now I can screw this in. I'm also going to put a couple staples in the cardboard. See that, guys? It's sturdy here. Because if the cardboard is loose at all, the poles, the turkey poles can get stuck, and that can prove fatal for them. If they're stuck, they're not getting adequate heat, they're not getting food and water, and they're here for a while with me not knowing they're here, especially in the overnight hours when it's cold, we can lose them. So I'm just going to make sure this is sturdy on both sides and it's safe for the birds. Alright y'all, so this piece of wood is installed. The cardboard is sturdy on both sides, so it's safe for the birds to be in here. We have their wood shavings down. And get these extra screws out. And my drill. And we have this raised platform here that we're going to be placing the feed on. And then I'll place the waterer right here. It's not necessary to put the waterer in here right now, but I'll wait till I receive that call from the post office so I can go pick up the turkeys. I'll make sure I turn the heat lamp on, which I am going to be, let's see. Oh, we don't have any extra ones in here for now. I think we have some in the coop still in place. Oh yeah, there it is. So I have 2 heat lamps in here in place. I'm going to remove one of these and use it right here in my brooder. I always have extra bulbs on hand just in case the ones that are installed in the heat lamps are not working. I'm going to remove this thermostat and place it in here to make sure the temperature is adequate. You don't necessarily have to do that, but this is just something that I do because I want to make sure they're good and comfy. So as you can see, there's lots of ventilation in here. They're going to have water and feed. They have their pine shavings down, and they're going to have their heat lamp here. Now for the water, once I get the call, I am going to actually add some brown sugar in the water. That's something I normally do. Other people use other nutrients in their water for their birds, but for me, I feel like it's not necessary for me to do that, and it's each person's choice. If whatever works for them, that's totally fine. It's not written in stone. Once the birds get what they need. But for me, I just like to keep it simple and adequate. Now, eventually, I am going to add a roost in this area here. And with this watermelon box, guys, it's perfect for the addition of a roost. I just sit it right here in this hole. Make sure it's long enough, and I sit it over here in that hole. I'm going to have to do some adjustments on it, but the poults are not going to be quite ready to roost, but eventually they will absolutely need a roost. Once they get strong enough and they're moving around a lot, this is something natural for them that they enjoy doing, and so I want to make sure that I have that provision here for them. But this is pretty much it. My quick little setup, and this is how I choose to set up for my birds, whether it's turkeys, layer chicks, or meat birds. Hopefully at some point this year I'll be able to obtain some meat birds to raise for my family, but stay tuned for the journey. I'm going to be picking up these turkey poults tomorrow, and I am excited about that. I am going to securely install this heat lamp, and if you notice, there's a few screws in place. See right here, right over there, and right there is spots that we would have placed heat lamps hanging in the past, just to make sure that they're safe and secure. It's installed this way, but sometimes the birds get, kind of crazy in here, and so they may knock it over. And I'm saying this because this has happened to us. They would knock it over, and this could cause a fire, which it did last year. It happened to us with the meat birds we were raising. And if you look here, see that, guys? This is actually from a fire. So because it's happened to me, I just want to raise that awareness to make sure you secure your heat lamps in place once you're using a heat lamps, because accidents do happen. You can't be too certain. Just make sure you double check and triple check to make sure things are safe. So see, we have two safety features. One is this screw right here, and the other one is the clip. So this is not going anywhere. I can remove this for now because it would not need a roost now. But this was just a simple demonstration to show you how we use this watermelon box and the design of it to actually install our roost. It's just perfect. It's just a perfect brooder that we've been using over the years to raise all of our baby chicks for a few weeks once we receive them. All right, so I'm gonna make sure this cord right away. Out of the way. All right, and once I get that call to pick up the turkey poults, I come out here and I plug it in right in here, turning on the heat lamp so it can get nice and warm and cozy for when the birds arrive. Now that I've completed setting up the brooder with all of the necessities, I am going to head out to the back and close that window up, that window space right here, to ensure a nice warm and adequate temperature in the brooder box. And this is where some more of my handy skills comes into play. I'm trying to put this up while I also hold the camera to get this footage, you know, and sometimes I think I'm bionic, but here goes. As you can tell, for those of you who may know, some of these screws, well, most of them, because we've been using them over and over, and the heads of them are rounded now, so next time around they're gonna have to be replaced. All right, so this is it. Brooder box is set up and the brooding area is properly secured. If you have any questions, please leave it in the comment section below, and as always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next upload.